but a lot of main roster stars have went down to NXT to just kind of reinvent themselves, trying to find themselves and where they are in the world of wrestling right now on this very, very stacked roster. You know, let's get it. Don't get it twisted. Both Raw and SmackDown have very, very stacked rosters. Even with the secondary and third tier wrestlers, you can still create a top notch promotion with those stars. One of the people I was sad to see again, I mentioned her on one of the previous shows, but Xia Li. I think they wasted Xia Li. You know what I'm saying? Also, a guy that she was with, I believe his name is Boa. Boa from NXT. Him, Xia Li, and another young lady. They had a faction. It was a dark mystic kind of Japanese ninja kind of gimmick. I loved it, everything that they were doing with it, and I'm not sure why they kind of disbanded that. But Xia Li was one of my favorites, and I wanted to see more from Xia Li, or wanted to see them do more with Xia Li. So I was sad to see her go, man. But I mean, on this roster, you have to prove yourself. And let me ask Mr. Everything, Roosevelt. It's gonna be hard for me to break out of that. Have you ever been on a stacked roster, and what's the competition level like when you're on a stacked roster for the night? What's the mindset going into your match?
I mean, it's not to the extent of how it is like on WWE. You know what I mean? Because on the independents, you got to think about who the favorite is in terms of fans. And so let's put it like this: with WWE, you got a stacked roster of people that travel all over the world, right? And you're in front of the same kind of audience per se. With independents, if I go to this one company, they're used to one style of wrestling. If I go to another company, these fans are used to a different style of wrestling. So it's so many different styles of wrestling, and just in the U.S. by itself, where the fans are like, okay, I don't care about what he's doing. I'm not used to this. I'm used to what they do. You know what I'm saying? And in terms like WWE, it's this one whole conglomerate of, like, you got a whole potluck of wrestling where all the fans are like, okay, I like this guy because he does this. I like this guy because, but at the same time, they're all going to cheer for everybody because they're used to seeing everybody all the time. So it's different for independents and, you know, some of the big leagues, because if they've never seen you before and they don't know about what your skills are or whatever, they may see a picture of you online. They may see one of your matches online somewhere. If you get announced, and people may go up and say, okay, let me find out who this guy is, because I don't know anything about him. But if you go like WWE, they see you so often, it doesn't matter to them so much what you do, is just how relatable you are to them. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of different. But like, I've been to some companies where you build up the whole entire company from the ground up, and then you got everybody, and it's always going to be somebody that's going to stand out. And then a lot of guys are like feeling the pressure of saying, okay, well, I got to step up my game, or they feel the pressure so much that they end up leaving. They end up quitting because they're like, I don't want to do more than what I'm capable of doing. There's a lot of guys, they get lazy and they get stagnant, and some of them get so stuck in their ways that they get entitled. They're like, oh, well, why is he always getting this, and why is he's getting these title shots? Why he has the belt so long? Why I haven't got a title opportunity? And it's like, because nobody likes you, nobody knows you. It's not like you and as a personality. It's nobody likes your character. Nobody likes your wrestling style. You know, we got a guy at one of the companies I'm a champion for, who said, you know, when am I going to get a belt around my waist? And one of the guys was like, that's not how you get a title opportunity around here. And he was like, well, I don't know, because I never had one. Well, you never will get one with that attitude. You know what I mean? Like, you don't right. Jump in a chat and be like, yo, I need to get a title shot. No, you don't. Why do you feel you need to get one? What have you done to say that you need to get one? What kind of fan base have you brought in for the people who be like, I love this guy, I love watching him work, and I'm gonna cheer for him every time. It's like when they see you, they're like, okay, here's another match. I'm gonna go grab me a beer.
Yeah. And I think that it can be very challenging for some wrestlers to kind of get over, like, because I know some of them probably feel like that they deserve that spot. You know what I mean? I guess you got to get yourself over. That's it. You know what I'm saying? You really got to get yourself over.
And it's really not that difficult. I mean, because look, I've been doing Victor Andrews for 15 years. I've been doing Mr. Everything for 15 years. I went to the same shows. I've been doing the same character for the longest and did the Roosevelt character. And it was no confusion for the fans. They were like, okay, well, he got a new name. He's got a new outfit. I still like him. His wrestling is still good. What he does in the ring is still amazing. How he sounds on the mic is still good. So it's not hard to get over. It's just how you go out there and present yourself. It's all about presentation all the time. If you can't go out there and present yourself in the best way to where people will be like, okay, I really want to get behind this guy, then you're not going to get what you think you deserve. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Proof is in the building. 6 titles.
Bobby 6 belts in this bitch. Oh man. Well, listen, fellas, let's go ahead and before we get into Backlash, I think I want to talk about this draft because that lends to the conversation of being drafted, right? And the feeling of being drafted. Now, I was super excited when they announced the draft. I was excited. I knew that it was going to be new challengers, new matches, all new things for both brands, Raw and SmackDown. After both nights ended, I was sadly disappointed because I was like, nobody moved. Nobody. There was really no movement. Everybody pretty much, all the big stars stayed on their prospective brands. And I was so upset about that. And I'm like, y'all missed the ball on that. What was the point of getting everybody excited for the draft and you wasn't going to draft no damn body? You know what I'm saying? There was some NXT call-ups that I was excited to see. Ilya Dragunov going to Monday Night Raw, and Ilya Dragunov is the second coming of Gunther. I don't care what nobody say. Ilya Dragunov is a real competitor. I believe Ilya Dragunov, every time he go into the ring, I've never seen Ilya Dragunov do something that was questionable of if it was real or if it felt real or not. Every time that man puts on a performance, I believe him. And it's just like Gunther. Every time Gunther puts on a performance and he chops the life out of somebody, I believe him. You know what I'm saying? So I was excited to see Ilya Dragunov because hopefully either they're going to end up pairing Ilya Dragunov with Imperium because they just kicked Giovanni out of the group. So I think they're going to either put Ilya Dragunov in Imperium or Ilya Dragunov and Gunther will happen at some point in time. And when it does, it will be a slobber knocker of a match. And I'm excited to see it because Gunther versus Ilya Dragunov, #1 for the European title, was an absolute banger, classic match. You can put that, you can watch tape on that. Mr. Everything, when you have wrestlers come in to train with you and they want to know what's a good match, show them that Ilya Dragunov versus Gunther match and be like, I want you to get close to this as possible.
Exactly.
I want you to get closest to, I want your chops to echo off the walls. I want you to, your blood vessels under your skin to burst and maybe bleed a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I want you to be winded and knotted up. You know what I'm saying? At the end of that match. That, if you have a chance and you want to see really good wrestling, go back and watch Ilya Dragunov versus Gunther. Chef, I know you hate Gunther's guts, but I don't care. That man put on an absolute banger with Ilya Dragunov. And so Ilya Dragunov and Gunther is probably one of my favorite matches of all time.
Absolutely.
Probably one of my favorite matches of all time. Now, I've seen a lot of wrestling, and I'm not taking nothing against all the old classic wrestlers that I grew up watching. But that match set a new precedence and a new level of physicality, and I loved every minute of it. It felt like strong style. Like, I know it's European strong style, but it felt like Japanese strong style the way they were going at each other. Mm-hmm. And so I want to see that again. They have to put that on the marquee at some point. Give me Ilya Dragunov versus Gunther any day of the week.